In the darkness of my apartment, with my phone dead and someone blocking my only exit, I realized something important. I'd spent 12 years as a lawyer, always having a plan, always staying 3 steps ahead. But sometimes the only plan left is to fight. Not with words or legal strategies. Just fight. I couldn't see anything in the complete darkness, but I could hear breathing. Steady, calm breathing from someone who'd done this before. Someone who wasn't afraid. "Don't scream," the voice said. Male, but not electronically distorted this time. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to save your life." People who break into apartments at midnight don't usually say that. People who have 2 assassination attempts scheduled against them in the next 48 hours don't usually have the luxury of being sarcastic. He moved closer. I heard his footsteps on my hardwood floor, moving with the confidence of someone who could see in the dark. Or was wearing night vision equipment. "Who are you?" "Someone who's been trying to keep you alive for the past 3 weeks. Do you have any idea how exhausting that's been? First, the poisoned coffee at your usual cafe. Then the tampered brake lines on your car. Then the fake FBI agents who were actually hired assassins. I've been cleaning up murder attempts like I'm your personal guardian angel." A light clicked on. He was holding a small flashlight, pointing it at the ceiling so it illuminated the room without blinding me. In the dim light, I could see his face. I recognized him. Not his name, but his face. He'd been in the background of photos from multiple events I'd attended. Always in the crowd, never making eye contact, always watching. "You've been following me. Protecting you. There's a difference. My name is Daniel Park. And yes, before you ask, I'm related to David Kim. He's my cousin. But unlike David, I didn't join Amanda's network. I joined the people trying to destroy it." He pulled out his phone and showed me a badge photo. "Federal Marshal, Organized Crime Division." "You're a federal agent?" "Undercover for 6 years. I've been embedded in various criminal networks, gathering intelligence, building cases. When David got involved with Amanda, I was assigned to monitor him. That's how I learned about you." Daniel moved to my windows and looked out at the street below. "We need to leave. Now." The power outage was my doing. I needed to create darkness to get in without being seen. But it also means the surveillance teams watching your building know something's wrong. We have maybe 5 minutes before they send someone to investigate. Surveillance teams? 3 of them. The architect's people watching from the north. A rival organization called the Syndicate watching from the south. And 1 lone operator I haven't identified yet, watching from the building across the street. Your apartment has become the most monitored location in Manhattan. I grabbed my laptop and the documents about Whitmore and Associates. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere they can't follow. Come on." Daniel led me through my apartment to the kitchen. He opened the window that led to the fire escape, but instead of going down, he went up. "The roof? That's the first place they'll look. Which is why we're not staying on the roof." We climbed 3 stories to the top of my building. The Manhattan skyline spread out around us, lights twinkling in the darkness. Daniel pulled out what looked like a grappling hook. "You're kidding." "I'm really not. There's a building 2 doors down with a lower roof. We're going to swing over to it." "I'm not doing that." "Then you're going to die in your apartment when one of those surveillance teams decides you're more valuable dead than alive. Your choice." I looked at the grappling hook, then at the gap between buildings, then at Daniel's serious expression. "Fine. But if I die, I'm haunting you forever." The swing across was terrifying. Wind rushing past, the gap below looking impossibly deep, my hands gripping the rope so hard they went numb. But Daniel caught me on the other side, and we scrambled down into a building that had been converted to artist lofts. "There's a car waiting 2 blocks away," Daniel said. "We need to move fast." We emerged from the building onto a side street I didn't recognize. The car was a nondescript sedan that screamed, "Federal vehicle." Daniel drove quickly but carefully, checking mirrors constantly. "Where are we going?" "Federal Safe House in New Jersey. It's the only place I can guarantee your safety while we figure out our next move." "Why are you helping me? What's your angle?" Daniel was quiet for a moment. "Because you're the key to bringing down multiple criminal networks. You've been inside Amanda's operation, you've been targeted by the architect, and now you have evidence that could expose Whitmore and Associates. You're a walking treasure trove of intelligence. So I'm just useful to you." "No. You're also the only person in this entire mess who's proven they can't be bought. That's rare. That's valuable. And that's worth protecting." The safe house was a small ranch home in a suburban New Jersey neighborhood. It looked completely ordinary, which I assumed was the point. But inside, it was equipped with surveillance equipment, secure communications gear, and enough weapons to fight a small war. Agent Morrison was waiting for us. "Victoria. Thank God. When Daniel reported the power outage, we thought you might have been taken. Your marshal just made me swing between buildings on a grappling hook. Better than the alternative. We intercepted communications from the syndicate. They were planning to grab you tonight, torture you for information about the architect's network, then kill you and make it look like suicide. I sat down heavily on a couch that had clearly seen better days. How did my life become an action thriller? You exposed a criminal conspiracy that's been operating for decades, Morrison said. You made yourself dangerous to people who eliminate dangers. This is the consequence. Daniel brought me coffee. Real coffee, not the poison kind apparently. We need to talk strategy, he said. You have evidence against Whitmore and Associates. We have evidence against Amanda's network, the architect's operations, and the syndicate. If we coordinate properly, we could take down all of them simultaneously. Or they could kill us all before we get the chance. That's also possible. Which is why we need to move fast. Morrison pulled out a file. The Bar Association hearing about your disbarment is scheduled for next week. That's our window. The hearing will be public, with media coverage, multiple witnesses, and a full panel of judges. It's the perfect stage to expose everything. You want me to use my own disbarment hearing to reveal a massive criminal conspiracy? Yes. Because they can't kill you in front of 50 witnesses and news cameras. And once the evidence is public, they lose their power. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I looked at the documents I'd brought from my apartment. The evidence against Whitmore. The proof of corruption in the judicial system. The names of compromised judges and lawyers. If I do this, I'll be permanently disbarred. There's no coming back from using a bar proceeding as a platform to expose corruption. The Bar Association will see it as a publicity stunt. True, Morrison said. But you'll also be alive. And you'll have destroyed the networks that have been manipulating the legal system. Isn't that worth more than a law license? For the next 5 days, we prepared. Morrison's team compiled evidence into presentation format. Daniel reached out to other undercover agents embedded in various networks, coordinating timing. I wrote a statement that laid out everything I knew, everything I'd experienced, everything I could prove. It was the longest legal document I'd ever written. 93 pages detailing 12 years of corruption, manipulation, and criminal conspiracy. On the 4th day, I received a visitor at the safe house. Maya, my sister, who'd been in protective custody since Sarah's arrest. Victoria, are you insane? Morrison told me what you're planning. They'll kill you. They're already trying to kill me. At least this way, I take them down with me. Maya grabbed my hands. You've already sacrificed your career for me. Don't sacrifice your life too. I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm finally fighting back. For 12 years, I let myself be manipulated, controlled, used. I convinced myself it was strategy, but it was really just fear. I'm done being afraid. And if you don't survive? Then at least I'll go out doing the right thing. That's better than I can say for the past 12 years. We hugged for a long time. Maya was crying. I might have been too. The Bar Association hearing was held in a grand courtroom in downtown Manhattan. The panel consisted of 7 judges, all with decades of experience. The room was packed with lawyers, journalists, and observers. I walked in wearing my best suit, carrying 3 file boxes of evidence. Agent Morrison and Daniel were in the gallery, along with a dozen FBI agents posing as regular observers. The proceedings began formally. The disciplinary committee presented their case: my confession to bar exam fraud, my association with criminal networks, my failure to report suspected corruption. Their evidence was damning. They showed my original bar exam fraud, emails I'd exchanged with Amanda and David, financial records showing suspicious payments. Ms. Sterling, the lead judge said, this panel has reviewed the evidence against you. Do you have anything to say before we render our decision? I stood up. Your Honor, I do. But first, I need to present evidence that's relevant to these proceedings. I opened the first file box and began distributing documents. The evidence against Whitmore and Associates. Financial records showing bribes to judges. Case files proving systematic manipulation. Ms. Sterling, this hearing is about your conduct, not. Your Honor, with respect, this evidence is directly relevant to my conduct. Because for the past 12 years, I've been unknowingly participating in a criminal conspiracy that has corrupted the entire legal system. And some of the people who benefited from that conspiracy are in this room right now. I pulled out a photograph. It showed one of the judges on the disciplinary panel meeting with a known money launderer at a restaurant. The metadata showed the photo was taken 6 months ago. Judge Harrison, can you explain why you were meeting with a man currently under investigation for racketeering? The courtroom erupted. Judge Harrison's face went white. The other judges demanded order. Morrison's team moved to the doors, preventing anyone from leaving. Ms. Sterling, you are out of order. I'm exposing corruption, Your Honor. Judge Harrison has received over $200,000 in payments from offshore accounts connected to Whitmore and Associates. In exchange, he's ruled in their favor in 17 cases over the past 4 years. I presented more evidence. Another judge who'd accepted bribes. A disciplinary committee member who was part of Amanda's network. A court administrator who'd been manipulating case assignments. This bar hearing isn't about justice, I continued. It's about silencing me. Because I know too much about how the system really works. About who's corrupt, who's being controlled, who's sold their integrity for money and power. One of the judges stood up. This is preposterous. You confessed to fraud, and now you're trying to distract from your own crimes by making wild accusations. They're not wild accusations. They're documented facts. Agent Morrison, would you like to present the federal warrants? Morrison stood up and held up a stack of documents. Federal warrants for the arrest of Judge Harrison, Judge Blackwell, and Court Administrator Stephen Chen. All three are under investigation for corruption, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Federal agents moved through the courtroom, approaching the named individuals. The place descended into chaos. Lawyers shouting, journalists rushing to file stories, judges demanding explanations. In the confusion, I kept talking. For 12 years, I participated in a broken system. I defended guilty people, I manipulated evidence, I did whatever it took to win. I convinced myself I was just doing my job. But I was really just serving a corrupt machine that traded justice for money. The bar exam fraud I committed? It was wrong. I deserved to be disbarred for it. But that fraud was facilitated by people who saw my desperation and used it to control me. People like Amanda Cross, David Kim, and Sarah Chen. They built a network of compromised lawyers, and I was just one of many. As federal agents led away the corrupt judges, one of the remaining panel members called for order. Ms. Sterling, even if everything you're saying is true, you still committed fraud. You still violated ethical rules. The Bar Association cannot overlook that. I'm not asking you to overlook it. I'm accepting responsibility for it. I confessed. I cooperated with federal investigations. I'm prepared to face whatever consequences the bar deems appropriate. But before you decide, I need you to understand something. The evidence I've presented today, it's just the beginning. The FBI has been investigating corruption in the legal system for years. They have evidence against 43 lawyers, 17 judges, and dozens of court personnel. This hearing, this moment, is the beginning of the largest legal corruption scandal in U.S. history. I pulled out my final document. My 93-page statement. This contains everything I know. Every name, every case, every instance of corruption I witnessed or participated in. I'm giving it to this panel, to the FBI, and to every news organization in the country. Not because I want to avoid consequences for my own actions, but because the system needs to be exposed and reformed. One of the judges, an older woman named Judge Patricia Martinez, spoke up. Ms. Sterling, why should we believe anything you say? You've admitted to fraud. You've associated with criminals. Your credibility is destroyed. You're right. My credibility is destroyed. Which is exactly why you should believe me. I have nothing left to lose. No career to protect, no reputation to salvage. I'm telling the truth because it's the only thing I have left. The hearing room went silent. In the gallery, I saw Daniel and Morrison watching intently. Maya was crying again. The panel will recess to deliberate, Judge Martinez said. Ms. Sterling, you'll wait here. 2 hours later, the panel returned. Judge Martinez read their decision. The panel has carefully considered Ms. Sterling's confession, her cooperation with federal authorities, and the extraordinary circumstances of this case. We find that Ms. Sterling did commit bar exam fraud, a serious ethical violation that normally results in permanent disbarment. My heart sank. However, we also recognize that Ms. Sterling has taken unprecedented steps to expose corruption in the legal system. She has risked her life, sacrificed her career, and provided evidence that has led to multiple federal investigations. Therefore, the panel's decision is as follows. Victoria Sterling will be disbarred from practicing law in the state of New York for a period of 5 years. After that time, she may petition for reinstatement if she can demonstrate rehabilitation and continued good character. 5 years. Not permanent, but 5 years. I'd be 40 years old before I could practice law again. Starting over from nothing. But I'd be alive. And free. Furthermore, Judge Martinez continued, this panel will be referring all evidence presented today to the appropriate federal and state authorities. We will also be recommending a comprehensive investigation into judicial corruption and the establishment of stronger ethical oversight mechanisms. She looked directly at me. Ms. Sterling, you have damaged your own career irreparably. But you may have saved the integrity of the legal system. History will judge whether that was a fair trade. As I left the courthouse, journalists swarmed. Questions shouted from every direction. Cameras flashing. Microphones thrust in my face. Agent Morrison and Daniel formed a protective barrier, pushing through the crowd to a waiting car. We drove away quickly, leaving the chaos behind. You did it, Morrison said. You actually did it. Did I? I'm disbarred for 5 years. Unemployed. Probably unemployable. What exactly did I win? You exposed the corruption. The rest will follow. My phone buzzed. An unknown number, but I was so numb I answered it anyway. Hello, Victoria. The electronically distorted voice. The architect. That was quite a performance. You've destroyed years of carefully constructed operations. Exposed people I spent decades positioning. Dismantled networks that generated billions in revenue. Good. You misunderstand. I'm not angry. I'm impressed. You've proven yourself to be more resourceful and dangerous than anyone anticipated. Which is why I'm making you one final offer. I'm not interested in any more offers. Not even one that would reveal who I really am. Not even one that would show you how deep the corruption actually goes. You've exposed the visible layer, Victoria. The judges and lawyers who take bribes. But you haven't touched the real power structure. The people who own the judges. The people who control the system itself. Who are you? Someone who's been watching you since law school. Someone who's been orchestrating this entire situation, including your victory today. You think you won? You did exactly what I needed you to do. You've consolidated power by eliminating my competitors. Amanda's network, the syndicate, Whitmore and Associates, all exposed and dismantled, leaving only my organization standing. My blood went cold. You wanted me to expose them? I needed you to expose them. And you performed beautifully. Now there's only one network left. One source of power in the corrupted legal system. Mine. And I control everything. Who are you? The voice chuckled. Check your email. I've sent you a photo. You'll recognize the face. I opened my email with shaking hands. The attached photo loaded slowly. When I saw it, I dropped the phone. The photo showed someone I'd trusted throughout this entire ordeal. Someone who'd been helping me, guiding me, protecting me. Someone sitting in this car right now.